Hi, everybody. Thank you so much, and welcome back to the Lift with your Auntie Sheila. We've got it all here: mental health, movement, motivation, and the best relationship advice around. Creating these videos for all of you, it's one of the best parts of my life and has been for many, many years. I treasure the privilege of bringing these heartfelt messages to you. And so if you're loving what I'm doing, please don't forget to subscribe and share the news of the channel with your friends and family. I want to thank Sherry for being the inspiration for our message today. And that message is: what happens when a woman is afraid to be alone? It's one of these letters I received. It hit me straight between the eye, and I have a lot to share about this. And I just want to start with the note itself. Dear Sheila, thanks for your insight on an issue I have been dealing with since I started dating at age 14. I won't beat around the bush. I have had to acknowledge that I'm afraid to be alone. I have never been without a boyfriend since I had my first. I am 38 years old and very uncomfortable even spending a few days alone. It's like I get lost in my own skin in my own house. As I type this letter, the man I kicked out of my house last week is back because I asked him to come back. I don't want him here. We are not nice to each other, and he does not want to be here. I want to learn how to be alone without being afraid. These relationships are more like security blankets than anything else. My mom was the same way. I really don't have any strong relationships, and I could use more hobbies and interests. I do have a nice career, but my life feels like a lot of empty space to fill. Thanks so much, Sherry. No, Sherry, thank you so much for being candid, being open and honest. That's really what this channel is all about. I mean, this is where we come, we unpack it, we do that truthfully. And anything that I'm going to say today, I think if you've been watching the channel for any length of time, you know that my intention is not to shock or to hurt anyone. It really, because of the path, and I've been candid with you all. If you're new to the channel, just go back through any of the videos. I share a lot of stories of coming of age, what I've seen, what I've helped people through. I only have one core desire, especially at this point in my life. It's really to lift up as many people as I can with the best information possible. Share with everyone again, this is not a hobby for me. My life's work as a mental health educator, I prepared myself for it. I don't take any of it for granted. I've sat in the classes, I've read the books, I have the life experience to go along with it. So it's a robust body of work I'm bringing to all of you. Having said that, I will say this: Sherry, it makes perfect sense to me that you feel uncomfortable in your skin, uncomfortable in your own house. I would too if there was a stranger there. And what I mean by that is, because since the age of 14, it would seem from what you wrote, there's been a very strong focus on these relationships. And what has happened in all those years, from 14, I think you said you're 38 now, from 14 to 38, there has not been a lot of time to get to know yourself. I mean, put it all out on the table here. Any relationship, especially the relationship with yourself, you're getting to know a person. I may be so bold and go out on the ledge and say you've spent more time getting to know these boys, teenagers, men over the years in relationships than you have spent getting to know yourself. The relationship with the self unfolds like anything else. Oh, I discovered this about myself. This is my favorite color. I discovered that this rubs me the wrong way. I was reading this, I was spending some time with myself, and this is what I discovered. I pulled back to do a little bit of self reflection. Oh my God, did you know this about me? I love this about myself. This is what I'm working on. I'm going to go ahead and take myself on a wonderful train ride. I'm going to go ahead and take myself away for the weekend. So, getting to know the self takes as much, deeply, truly, takes as much, if not more, energy than getting to know a friend, getting to know a significant other. And I hope that we are all those things to ourselves. I hope we're friends to ourselves. I hope we're a significant other to ourselves. So Sherry, I want to go further and say this is more or less a how-to channel, so I'm going to get into specifics with you, but I want to just validate your feeling. Of course, it's when you're faced with a Saturday and Sunday with yourself, it's like, well, what the heck do I do with me? Who is this person? What do I like? So what you're saying makes a lot perfect sense. The first thing that I want to connect you to deeply is what happens over a lifetime, or over years, when you continue to reinforce this pattern by inviting people into your life based on fear. I want to share a story with everyone. It shook me to the core. It is the reason I started looking at a lot of things that I was doing differently. So in my early 20s, I was working as a home visitor in Champaign, Urbana, hustling my way through grad school, and the friendly visitor was responsible for visiting seniors, sitting with them, having conversations with them. It was a small piece of time that would prove to be extremely significant in my life. Miss Cherry came into my life, and I'm using her name because Miss Cherry she's passed on. She actually passed on when I was visiting and working with her. And what really shook me to the core is I walked into her tiny apartment, and she let me know that her husband, he had constantly been in and out of her life. Like, he would leave for 3 months, he would leave for 6 months, and then he would show up. And whenever he showed up, because of just this terror of being by herself and this trauma that she had gone through with him being gone for those months, she not only welcomed him back, she begged him to stay. Please, that was her whole thing. Just stay with me, stay with me. So here I am with this woman who's in her late 80s. And again, I'm in my early 20s. And she was basically, I was there to visit her and to sit with her, but she was schooling me. She was giving me a lot of very deep knowledge and information that has stayed with me all these years. And she said to me, baby, all I can tell you, just be very careful. Be very careful in the choices you make. And she repeated over and over again, I lived so scared. I've been so scared all these years to step out. I literally should have cried. I should have cried and been sad and been done with it. But this is my life. Like, he's in there asleep. we're in our 80s and he could get up, he has other relationships across the country. This hasn't slowed down as he's aged, as we've aged, and I put up with it, and that's why I have this life. He's in there sleep, and I'm hoping that he'll stay for the next few months. I mean, it was surreal. It rocked my world, and you can just imagine her, going through her 20s, going through her 30s, going through her 40s. I mean, a lifetime with this man, coming and going, coming and going. And she gave the answer right there. I ended up with this mediocre life because I was afraid to be by myself, and I was afraid to do anything else. And 3 or 4 months into my service work with her, she passed away, which is why it just gripped me. And I have to believe, from a spiritual perspective, that Miss Cherry, the Lord put Miss Cherry into my life. And maybe I came into her life or something too, but it was just like, this is a stern warning, because at the time I was just smack dab in the middle of putting up with nonsense from someone, because it's like, well, I'm here, I'm killing time, he's here. And again, it's that whole mantra, being afraid to be alone. And I'm going to get into the steps in just a second, Sherry, but a question that I would ask everyone who's watching this video, if you're a person who really, you're dealing with something subpar, or you have the feeling, I really need to be out of this relationship or do something different, but it's that pull of how am I going to manage alone? A key question I would ask you to ask yourself is, am I is this a ghost relationship, or do I really have something of substance? Because I would venture to say that you can have someone walking around the house, making sandwiches, watching the TV, and have nothing at the same time. You could have them there. They may say a couple words or what have you, but not have anything. Because if it's not the relationship that you desire, rooted in respect, trust, love, some level of momentum and positive force in the relationship, what is it that you really have? So that's one piece that I would ask you to not just ask yourself, but honestly sit in a chair with some snacks or so, and actually ponder this, because a lot can wash over you inside of quiet. Now I want to get into some concrete advice here. It's simple advice, it's plain advice, but I believe if it's followed, and you really go into it, it can change the trajectory for you, Sherry. So first and foremost, there's a physicality of being alone. I hope everyone understands what I'm saying. Like, there's the physical component of, okay, I'm in a space, I'm in a building, whether it's an apartment, whether it's a house, I'm in here. There's the physicality of alone without any other life. Okay, so I like to deal in very practical strategies. I am not a fan of anyone truly living alone. I love the idea of pets. I love the idea of a dog or a cat, something that is a life force in your environment, something that you can love, something that you can focus on, something that you're taking care of, and ultimately, from an emotional and affectionate standpoint, something that's taking care of you. So that, that's one of the first things I would say is really scanning how your environment is set up. I know when I was going through this period, um, something very similar that also brought me comfort. I would always have an electric candle or my real fire burning candles. You have to be very careful with those, especially these days. But I would have that going at all times because it always gave me a warm, comforting feeling spiritually and connecting to that spirituality that Sheila, you're never alone. And I still have that practice today because it really makes me feel cocooned and very much insulated. The next piece I want to share with you, Sherry, is it's going to be so important to start laying out the sampler buffet for yourself, like the sampler buffet of you. Uh, it could be exciting, it could be frightening, it could be a combination of both, depending on how you're going to look at this advice. But it's important because you've had some level of arrested development, and you can watch my video titled Arrested Development. You really haven't built a relationship with yourself. You haven't gotten to know yourself. What do you love? What moves you? You know, what gets you going? You're going to need to start sampling some things. Where do you start with that? Start everywhere. Start going to some plays, start taking some classes, start reading some books. Start everywhere. Anything that's of any level of interest to you, go into it and see what it does for your soul. Because one of the things that elements of your life that you're going to need to build out is your hobbies and interest. You know, there are people, hey, if I have 2 or 3 days to myself, I'm going to take myself up to the shore. I'm going to have some books. I'm going to watch some movies. I'm going to have this craft. I'm going to work on this puzzle. I have this writing project that I'm going to do, or I'm going to connect with my friends. I'm going to build out my calendar. I mean, there's so many things that if that level of knowing and those hobbies and interests are there, you can just expand it out. And time alone, it becomes not, oh, I have some time alone. It becomes, yes, I have some time alone. But it's like anything else. It's a muscle that you have to work, and you have to build that muscle up of self-care, knowing yourself, confident, going into different territories of your life comfortably. The other thing that I want to say to you, and a lot of people will leave this out because folks want to pretend like everything is a 1, 2, 3 solution. It's not. There are things in life that you're just going to have to fight through. I don't necessarily know how else to say it. There are things in life that it is absolutely worth fighting for it and fighting through it. And this would be one of them. So what I'm saying to you is, please anticipate. You can anticipate discomfort. This is new territory. You can anticipate times and days where, I really feel like this sucks. And that's when you double down and keep it in front of you. This is a pattern that I'm actively working on breaking. I knew there would be some discomfort, and guess what? I'm ready for it. I'm prepared for it. There's going to be no surprises coming up behind me. If you are fighting through it means just that. I'm fighting through it. When you get the temptation to pick up the phone, call this person back that you don't want in your space, that's when you have enough fight to sit with yourself and say, you know what? I'm reacting out of fear. I've been disrespected multiple times. Why am I inviting this stuff back into my life? A fight is a fight, and there's uncomfortable parts of a fight. And then I want to say to you that it's going to be necessary because there's been relationship neglect in your life. You've neglected forming key relationships, taking care of key relationships. 38 is not too late to start What I recommend is reaching out to some folks. Doesn't have to be, hey, let's get together next week. Hey, you've been on my mind. Would you like to get together in the fall? You want to do some shopping? You want to just hang out? You're going to have to cultivate these relationships slowly, but cultivating them, it's absolutely worth it. Friendships and affiliations can be the spice of life. And if so much of your energy has been going down one silo, there's a whole world out here of affiliation available to you. What I'm saying is this is it's a mindset. We're talking mindset here. And lastly, what I want to share, when you are coming out of an energy of just being terrified and afraid to be alone, don't water it down. Be honest with yourself. And being honest with yourself, yeah, this is an area that I absolutely need to develop this, because I want to create space for a partner and a companion who respects me, who is kind, who we really enjoy each other. Because it sounds like ultimately one of your goals is companionship. It can't be the only goal. It could be the most important goal, but if it's the only thing, you're just going to turn away from everything else you need to develop. So be honest with yourself. I need to watch out for that. I need to be careful. Am I forming relationships too quickly that could be toxic for me? Am I pulling people in just as space fillers? Those are really important questions to ask yourself. And then, last but not least, this channel, very much, I'm always giving you the practical advice. But I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the beauty and the payout and the payback of developing that strong spiritual cord with the Lord and your angels. I can't talk about it enough, because that in and of itself has been such a catalyst and a portal to levels of emotional freedom, deeper connection than anything that I've ever done. Is really grounding myself in my truth and reality as I know it, as the Lord has led it to me, that first and foremost, we are never alone, but the ability, to transcend. And that's what I'm talking about here, the ability to transcend the physicality and the realities that go along with that, to actually feel, I'm protected. The Spirit of the Lord is with me. The Holy Spirit is with me. The angels are with me. They are watching over me. They are infusing me. Yes, I can enjoy myself, in my skin for as long as I need to. I know that all that I need will be supplied. I have to be clear and focused so that I can see the bounty, the blessings, the overflow. I need to be able to see that, to taste that, to touch it, to feel it. I'm great. Good. I want you to have the companionship. I want what you want for yourself, but to get to that in a healthy way, that you're not frazzled, you're not disoriented. I've taken that walk before. All you need to do is go back through some of the videos. I'm very candid about it. It was a disempowering time. That's why I do this work, because I know the difference. So Sherry, look, I hope something that I've said has made a difference. But look, as a woman, as a child of God, if you are living in abject fear of being by yourself, that fear opens a doorway, a pathway for dark energies to come in, people with dark intentions. You will hold on to things that you know full well, I need to let go of this. But hey, someone's here. They're in my life. I feel valid. I feel validated. I feel whole. And it's a slippery slope. So woman, Sherry, divine light being, child of God, understand you have what it takes. Fight through it, put the suggestions into play, and manifest the life and the peace the companionship and the reality that you deserve. Look, everyone, I'm going to be back very soon with some more inspiring videos. Please do not forget to check out my Tools Not Talk empowerment circles. Check out that link below. We keep you accountable. I'd love for you to sign up for that course. We're enrolling now. I'm starting some more circles. So thank you so much. Please don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you soon.